Well, hello, everyone. Thank you so much to those that are joining us live here for our 2023 session of Mom Congress 101. My name is Crystal McCauley. I'm very proud to serve as the Community Director for Mom Congress. I'm joined by my colleague, Ebony Wren, today, who I just mentioned is not feeling the greatest. So she won't be on camera or talking with us today, but she is here. Please go ahead and send any questions you may have in the chat, or you're welcome to raise your hand. And for those of you that are viewing this recording, we're thankful that you're here and excited to teach you all about Mom Congress. And to that, Ebony, you can go to the next slide. So today we're aiming for a 30-minute session, and we're going to cover the background on Mom Congress as an organization. We will also go through U.S. government basics and provide a support document for each of you to take away with you. Additionally, we will go through what to expect during our DC Hill Day meetings. And you can go to the next slide, Ebony. All right, so let's jump right in. The background on Mom Congress. So Mom Congress started in 2019. These are some pictures from our first in-person event. If you all can remember way back when in 2019, pre-COVID times, we took a group of about 220 advocates to Washington, D.C. to advocate for our first package of supported legislation for parenthood in the United States. So this was an amazing inaugural event. There was an opportunity presented itself when 2020 Mom, alongside several other organizations like the Preeclampsia Foundation, Mama's Voices, and others, Every Mother Counts, came together and formed a coalition of organizations to take a collective voice to Capitol Hill. That event was held in May of 2019 and was a great success. And you can see from lots of smiles in the photos there. You can go to the next slide, Ebony. So in 2020, we were in the midst of planning for another in-person event in May in Washington, D.C., and we all know what happened in 2020. We were, putting on our thinking caps and said, how are we going to handle this? And we, like many others, decided to go virtual. And so all of our efforts for the year 2020 carried on, but virtually. So we weren't able to bring people in person to DC, but we did advocate through virtual Hill Days. And we also continued offering our annual congressional briefing, along with a special briefing on COVID's caregiving crisis and the intersection of maternal mental health. So you can see here that we carried on with our partnerships, still operated as a coalition of organizations, but in 2020, we realized that really where the specialty lies for Mom Congress is in the individuals who come to our Hill Days and who come to support the annual package of supported legislation. And we realized that what Mom Congress can really do in a unique way is be the muscle behind the advocate. So we like to say we're the muscle behind our members. So what we do now is in 2020, we shifted to become a membership-driven organization. And that's what we are to this day. So thanks, Ebony. We can go to the next slide. So in 2021, we were still hopeful that we would be able to gather together in person, but we stayed virtual for the entire year. So again, efforts in 2021 were held all virtually, and we still held our congressional briefing and continued to grow as a membership-driven organization. You can go to the next slide, Ebony. Bringing us to last year. So in 2022, we were able to come together in person in Washington, D.C., but the Capitol was only partially open, which became a great lesson to all of us, that we can do meetings both virtually and in person, and we can actually do them throughout the year. So what we were shown in 2022 was, yes, we want to come together in person. Our advocates love being together. We have created and have a very special community of individuals who come together to advocate for these bills each year, but we also advocated throughout the entire end of the year as well. So we took in-person meetings in districts. We had members who took meetings virtually once they got back home from DC. And so we're really leaning into that model now, saying that, yes, we will annually come together in person, but we're also going to carry on the work at home and take advantage of the fact that the world is open up in this hybrid manner for us to do things both virtually and face to face. Thank you, Ebony. So also in 2022, our growth was really showing. We got a shout out in Politico Pro. We had lots of op-eds placed by our members. Again, we had members take in-district meetings when they got back home throughout the fall. And we also hired our new program director, Ebony. We're so glad that you're here. And it's been amazing to work with you over the last year. Can't wait to see you in DC. Lots of hand clapping for Ebony. You're awesome. At the end of 2022, we were also able to have a celebration that a lot of us have been waiting a long time for. So we were finally able to celebrate that 5 bills that we championed between the year 2019 through the end of 2020 were passed and signed into law. So you can go to the next slide, Ebony, and this gives us a list of the 5 bills that have passed since the inception of Mom Congress. So we have data mapping to save moms, pump for nursing mothers, the Pregnant Workers Fairness Act, Triumph for New Moms, and Into the Light for Maternal Mental Health. We have been following along the implementation of each of those bills by uplifting calls to action and other bits of information as they've come through. So congratulations to all of you that are on the call that got to advocate for these bills and see your hard work in action. I have faith that we'll be having another celebration at the end of 2023 as well. You can go to the next slide, Ebony. So bringing us to our 2023 Hill Day of Action. So you'll notice for some of you, this sounds like a bit of a rebranding. I thought we were calling it the convention. Like, what's the story here? So in 2023, we are bringing a group of advocates to DC for a Hill Day. But instead of doing all of our training on site the day before, we're going to do all of our training in the weeks leading up to coming together in DC. This is in response to the fact that over the years that we've been coming together in person, people have said, wow, this is amazing. I love being in this community, but learning everything on Monday and trying to turn around and perform it on Tuesday is really challenging. So we are hoping that this hybrid approach this year of offering bill trainings virtually, Mom Congress 101 virtually, and all of our working sessions ahead of the DC Hill Day will be beneficial to give everyone time to digest the information. Additionally, if you're not able to come to DC on September 18th and 19th, we are going to offer support and scripts and templates and things of that nature for anyone who wants to advocate virtually or in person by taking a district meeting in your home state, and likely in the month of October. But again, we'll continue to do advocacy efforts through the end of the year as they make sense for the bills that we are following. Does anyone have any questions at this point about Mom Congress starting as a coalition of organizations, becoming a member-driven organization? We'll still go to DC for our moment together every year for our Hill Day, but everything that you would have done on the Monday leading up is now going to be done virtually in the days and weeks ahead of time. All right, well, you can go to the next slide. Thanks, Ebony. So now we're going to go through Congress 101. So these are just some basics about Congress. This is not meant to be comprehensive in any way. It's really just to give life to some of the words that you're going to hear seen and typed out a lot in the coming weeks when we're asking about what you need to do or be prepared to do. So to that end, our basics about Congress are there are 2 chambers. There's the Senate and the House of Representatives. Those are your legislators. When we talk about people who make laws, we're talking about your senators and your House of Representatives. What is a district? And this is the location that your member of Congress represents. So it's specifically based on your home address. So many of you, when you go to get a driver's license or you register to vote, you're putting in your address. That's the same thing when you are looking up your member of Congress. You're putting in your address, and you might live very close to a fellow advocate who's just over the particular line that says one of you has this congressperson and the other one has this congressperson. So it's important to go drill down by your address when you're looking for who your member of Congress is. And a constituent, that's a term we use often because you are all what we call constituent advocates, meaning that you are going to build a relationship with and be speaking with the legislator from your district. So you are a constituent, which means that you have the ability to vote for that person within their district. So your voice carries a lot of weight for these individuals that have been your elected leaders. I will carry on then. This is one of our favorite little videos to show every year. For some of you, it's a great memory. And if you haven't seen this before, I welcome you to watch I'm Just a Bill on Capitol Hill. It gives you a little information about the legislative process. We are advocating for a package of bills, and they're all starting out as just a bill. So I'll let you take it away, Ebony. Oh, Ebony, you may have to unmute and start it over with the volume up. Sorry.
There's no volume.
I was going to say, we still can't hear your sound, Ebony.
I think she has to go to her settings and like before, like she has to unshare and then reshare. And when you reshare, you have to check the two boxes. You have to allow for audio. So then like reshare, and then there should be two little boxes down there.
Let me try, Ebony, I might be able to share it from mine. Hold on, let's try this too.
I'm just a bill.
Woo, you sure got to climb a lot of steps to get to this Capitol building here in Washington. Well, I wonder who that sad little scrap of paper is.
I'm just a bill. Yes, I'm only a bill. And I'm sitting here on Capitol Hill. Well, it's a long, long journey to the capital city. It's a long, long wait while I'm sitting in committee. But I know I'll be a law someday. At least I hope and pray that I will. But today I am still just a bill.
Gee, Bill, you certainly have a lot of patience and courage.
Well, I got this far. When I started, I wasn't even a bill. I was just an idea. Some folks back home decided they wanted a law passed, so they called their local congressman, and he said, "You're right, there ought to be a law." And he sat down and wrote me out and introduced me to Congress, and I became a bill. And I'll remain a bill until they decide to make me a law. I'm just a bill. Yes, I'm only a bill. And I got as far as Capitol Hill. Well, now I'm stuck in committee, and I'll sit here and wait while a few key congressmen discuss and debate whether they should let me be a law. And pray that they will. But today I am still just a bill.
Listen to those congressmen arguing. Is all that discussion and debate about you?
Yeah, I'm one of the lucky ones. Most bills never even get this far. I hope they decide to report on me favorably. Otherwise, I may die.
Die?
Yeah, die in committee. Oh, but it looks like I'm going to live. Now I go to the House of Representatives and they vote on me.
If they vote yes, what happens?
Then I go to the Senate and the whole thing starts all over again.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. I'm just a bill. Yes, I'm only a bill. And if they vote for me on Capitol Hill, well, then I'm off to the White House where I'll wait in a line with a lot of other bills for the president to sign. And if he signs me, then I'll be a law. I hope and pray that he will. But today I am still just a bill.
You mean even if the whole Congress says you should be a law, the president can still say no?
Yes, that's called a veto. If the president vetoes me, I have to go back to Congress and they vote on me again. And by that time, you're sold.
By that time, it's very unlikely that you become a law. It's not easy to become a law, is it?
No, but how I hope and pray that I will. But today I am still just a bill. He signed your bill. Now you're a law. Oh, yeah.
Love that little video. So thank you very much. Ebony, I'll turn the screen share back over to you. Yep, that's just an overview about what each of these bills does. So everything gets written, and we are going to be joining at the stage where we are advocating for them. A lot of them in specific committees that have been reported out to those committees that you saw in the video, and in talking directly with our legislators as well. So what does your member of Congress do? Well, your individual member of Congress also employs a very large staff. So for a House member, you have 15 to 25 members on staff, and for a senator, they'll have 60 to 70 people on their staff. So this is all to say that it's very likely that not only the people who are doing the work, but the people that you will meet with in DC will end up being staffers of some sort. They all help with the general role of a Congress member, and that's constituent services, to communicate and meet with constituents directly. That's what you're asking them to do when you go to DC, or meet them in your district if you'd like to meet them back at home too. Seek and create positive press for themselves, hopefully for either a re-election or really to make things better in your hometown. And then host and attend events in their district. So if you're not already on your legislators' mailing list, I would encourage you to seek that out and make sure that you get signed up to find out when they are going to be out and about in town, or when they're addressing things that are important to you. And additionally, they do actual legislating. So actually going through the laws that we're going to be advocating for. You can go to the next slide, Ebony. Thank you very much. Again, welcome your questions. I'm the one-man show today with Ebony being out. So I will carry on until I see someone's hand raised. So now we're going to go through what to expect on Tuesday, September 19th. So just remember, if you're thinking about Tuesday, September 19th, Monday night, the 18th, will have been our soiree the night before. You can come in and register from 3 o'clock. We'll have our soiree from 5 to 7. And then we want to encourage you to get together with fellow advocates and go out for dinner on your own and enjoy a nice evening. Because Tuesday, September 19th is going to be a very jam-packed, very long day, but it's going to be fantastic. Everything's being held at the Capitol this year on Tuesday. So Tuesday morning, we'll need to jump in our Ubers and head on over to the Capitol. Breakfast will be served starting at 8:15 in the morning in the Rayburn building. I'll show you a map here in a moment. But in the Rayburn House office building is also where we're going to be holding our congressional briefing. So this is that annual briefing I mentioned a couple times. We have held one every year since our inception. So this is our 5th annual congressional briefing, Saving and Supporting Moms. That'll be comprised of a great panel of speakers, moderator, and a great way to kick off our day. If you have already made your appointment with your House of Representatives member, or you've already watched that working session, we invite you to know that you are going to be extending the invitation for them to come to the congressional briefing. Whether they come in person or send a staffer, you'll also be inviting them to our reception later in the day. So after we wrap up our congressional briefing at 10 a.m., we're asking everyone to go have their House of Representatives meeting. So the goal is to do that between 10:15 and 12:15. We understand that some offices will not be available until the afternoon, or perhaps they're only available at 9:30 that morning. We do encourage you to make the meeting with your representative the priority. So if you're going to have to miss the group photo, or it's going to cut into your lunchtime, or you might have to skip out from the briefing a few minutes early, having that meeting with your representative should most certainly be your priority. We will then meet outside where we've met in years previous to have our Capitol Hill group photo. So we're not going to do that first thing in the morning because we're going straight into the congressional briefing, but we'll come outside, have our group photo, and then encourage you all to get together in groups to go back into the Capitol building where you can have lunch. So there's several different cafeterias. We'll have Mom Congress team members placed there. If you need to check in, get some more leave behind materials, charge up your phone, but there's great opportunities for you to go inside, see the interior of the Capitol, and have lunch. And then in the afternoon, we will have meetings with senators, key committees, or additional legislative meetings. So many of the bills that we're advocating for, as I mentioned earlier, are already sitting with a committee, and we are going to do our best to pair up constituent advocates with people who are members of those committees or in key leadership for those committees. So those meetings will take place in the afternoon. And then in the early evening, we will have our congressional reception and awards ceremony. So that will take place again in the Rayburn House building. This will be actually in the foyer, so a different room from the congressional, from the congressional briefing. But we will be passing out a couple of awards to legislators who have done some really great work in our space. And we'll also have appetizers and drinks to pass around. So we'll be inviting you to invite the staff members that you meet with, as well as your legislators, to come to that reception. Ebony, you can go to the next slide. Actually, are the pictures on the next slide? I'm wondering where I put them. Do you know? And oops, I've lost you guys. Where'd you go? There you are. Yes, so this is some pictures from the 2019 reception, which I just thought were really fun to share with you all. It's this is the last time we were able to do this, was 2019. So it was a casual environment where lots of legislators were sort of strolling in on their way through and came up to the podium to make remarks about parenthood and about the importance of advocacy, and thanking us for making the trek to Capitol Hill and wanting to inspire us to keep the work going. So I just think it's going to be really exciting. So I have to make a plug for how fun the reception is. And then Ebony, you can go back to the map if you like, and I will just thank you so much. So just to give you all an idea here of where we'll be on the day on that Tuesday, bring your walking shoes, something comfortable you can switch in and out of. See in the middle of the map here down toward the bottom where it says Rayburn House Office Building. That's where those two rooms are, where we're having our two formal events. And then in the center there where it says Capitol Visitor Center, right outside the US Capitol, that's where we go out for our group photo. And then looking across back up to the top, you'll see the Russell Senate Office Building, Dirksen and Hart Senate Office Building. So if you have to trek all the way across the Capitol grounds, you'll be going over there to have Senate and possibly key committee meetings. So again, walking shoes, if you're able, or make sure that you have, if we need to help get some accessible transport for anyone to go around during the day, don't hesitate to reach out to me or Ebony, Becca, anybody on the team, and we'd be happy to make arrangements for you. Okay, and then the next two slides are just showing you the pictures of the invitations to save the date and join us for the congressional briefing that Monday. And the next one is for the reception that afternoon. And then those pictures again from 2019. Our meetings with Congress on Tuesday, the 19th. You're going to be advocating for our mom's agenda bills. Ebony, if you want to click on that hyperlink, it will show them on the website. We'll just have to click out of the pop-up, but you can go to the website now. This is public, so this can be shared. This is the 2023 Moms Agenda Bills. So there are 7 of them on here so far. Some of them will look very recognizable to you, Midwives for Moms, which is going to pass this year. Shine is on there as well, carried over from last year's Moms Agenda. And then the additional bills that you see listed here we'll all have an individual training session in the coming weeks. So we're starting to publish that today. You'll get an invite to come to a virtual training session for each one of these. Each one will be 20 to 30 minutes maximum. We're trying to kind of keep that 30-minute time frame in digestible chunks of information here. If you have any questions, again, feel free to reach out to me, Ebony, Becca, anybody on the team, but want to make you all aware that the bills are published here. We invite you to dig in as much or as little as you want, but we'll be offering formal training sessions on each bill. Thanks, Ebony. So the following things that we're going to cover are just how this year's a bit different because we are not assigning teams to go into your legislative meetings. We're asked that each individual member make the arrangements for their meetings, and then internally we are happy to help pair you up or get groups together in ways that make sense where you could both make your meeting times but offer support to one another. And there's a lot of people who have reached out and said, this is my first time, I know I need someone to come with me, or people who have said, this is my 3rd or 4th time and I still want someone to come with me. So it is whatever makes you most comfortable. We're here to support and help. Your pre-work this year, since we have more time and opportunity, we're hoping we'll be able to really lean in here. So you can look into your legislator, determine where they currently stand on the 2023 Moms Agenda bills. Again, we'll go through this formally during the bill trainings, but letting you know that one of the things you'll be asked to do is find out where do your legislators stand? Do they support the issues that we're supporting? All the bills that are on there are bipartisan, so we're hoping it won't be too hard to pull anyone in from either side to support, but are they a parent themselves? Have they supported the legislation that we have supported in the past? Or is there something we know about them that might be a red flag that we can be prepared to come in and say, like, we understand that spending is of concern to you, and let's lay out some important facts and figures specifically to your district too. So when you're doing research on your legislator ahead of advocating for the Moms Agenda bills, find out about statistics in your own particular district. You can look up maternal death research. There's loss information. If you feel like you're getting stuck and you can't find the information you need for your state, we want you to reach out. We have multiple Mom Congress members who may have already done the work in your state. We'll get you guys connected. So invite you just to do as much digging as possible. I'm a Google document lover. So if you're a Google Doc lover, you can put all that information in a Google Doc, or if you're old fashioned and you'd like to write it down, have your notebook ready to take with you to Capitol Hill, because the more information you have, the more confident you'll be going into these conversations. Thanks, Ebony. So during the Advocacy Day meeting, so if more than one person comes with you, we do want the constituent advocate to act as the leader of the group. So you're going to lead the conversation, but all you'll do is ask each person that's with you to introduce themselves, and they can say, "Hi, I'm Crystal. I'm a member of Mom Congress, and I am not a member of your district, but I do know this legislation well, and I'm here to support Katie as she advocates for these bills today. And if your fellow advocate is willing to take a couple notes and write things down while you speak, that would be great. But the constituent advocate is going to be asked to lead the meeting. So really, you're going to want to open it up and kick it off by saying, I'm a member of Mom Congress, and here's why. I have a personal story, and I'd like to share that with you. This is where the either your past training or hopefully your Mama's Voices training will come in as a really key bit of education here, where you can share in 2 to 3 minutes really impactful story, but that relates back to the bills you're advocating for and is really memorable for the individual. So again, you can reference state-specific or district-specific newspaper articles or information that you found alongside your personal story. And we can go to the next slide, Ebony. And then you'll want to make your policy pitch. So again, we will provide you with leave behind information and printed materials on each of the bills, but you will want to be prepared to say, I'm here specifically today to advocate for XYZ bills from our Moms Agenda. We also want to recognize that many of you will have perhaps an issue or something else district specific or specific to your story that is not reflected in the Moms Agenda. It is your meeting, and we want you to feel empowered to speak up to your legislator, right? Mom Congress is just the muscle behind you, helping you with preparation and training and things of that nature. But if there's something else you want to discuss with your lawmaker, we want you to do so at that time as well. And then as you're talking to them about the Moms Agenda bills, take a couple notes and ask, do you think your office is going to be willing to sign this bill? Do you have any questions? Because a lot of the key information here will come in a follow-up. Your being there in person is hugely impactful, and really the part that's most deeply felt is being able to sit with you face to face, understand that you're advocating for specific bills. But if you miss a key point, or you forget to ask about something, or if they ask you a question and you don't have the answer, it is all good. We are here to support you, find the answer to that question, and we will help you send that in a follow-up email. But again, being there and making that impact is what's going to stick with them. Everything else can be written out and sent to them after your meeting. Any questions? No? Okay. Well, I will be happy to stay on for a couple more minutes. We're only about 2 minutes over, but I am here for anyone who has questions. I will go ahead and stop the recording for now.